Here we're looking at writing expressions, and these expressions are going to be a little bit more complicated than the ones we've done before. So I will show you a couple examples, and then you'll be able to try on your own. This first one says 9 plus the product of negative 8 and x. So the first thing we look at is this plus, and we know that that means add. So we're adding two things. We're adding 9 and the product of negative 8 and x. So we're doing 9 plus the product of negative 8 and x. To write this last part, we need to know that product means multiply, and that's on the list we studied. So we're adding negative 8 times x. And that could be the answer, but we don't see it on the right side over here, so it looks like we need to simplify it a little bit more. We know that when we're multiplying, we don't need to necessarily put that dot there if one of the things we're multiplying is a variable. So we can just write 9 plus negative 8x. And it looks like we're getting closer to these answer choices, but I still don't see it. So we also need to remember that when we're adding, you can write it in any order. Just like 3 plus 2 is the same thing as 2 plus 3, we can switch the order anytime we're adding. So here we could switch the 9 plus negative 8x to negative 8x plus 9. And then I do see that over here, so I'm going to click it. And we got it right. Let's try one more. Next one says 7 plus the quantity negative 6 times x. So again, we have this word plus, so we're adding two things. 7 and the quantity negative 6 times x. So we have 7 plus, we know that times means multiply, so negative 6 times x. And since that's still not an answer choice over here, we're going to keep simplifying. So we have 7 plus negative 6x, because remember we can take away that dot if we're multiplying by a variable. I'm looking over here again, and that still is not a choice. So I'm going to try flipping those adding parts again. Just like we said last time, 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2. We can flip those around. So I'm going to try it. Negative 6x plus 7. And we see that to the right. This next one looks a little different, so we're going to do one more, and then you will have a chance to try some on your own. This one says, take the product of 1 and x, and then add negative 2. So just by reading this, it says we need to do this first part first, and then add negative 2. So we need to make sure to do the first part at the beginning. So we're going to do the product, which means multiply. So that's 1 times x, and then add negative 2, plus negative 2. Now remember, when we're multiplying 1 times something, we don't need to put that 1 in there. So I can just write this as x, and then add the negative 2. Now this could be our answer right here, but again, it's not on the right. So I'm going to try and simplify it a little bit. Since we're adding a negative right here, that's one way to write it, but we can also write it as just a subtracting. So x plus negative 2 is the same thing as x minus 2. And since that's a choice, that is what we will pick. After you have watched this video, take a minute and click on the link and try to get 10 of these right in a row.